I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. 死んだ天性 I was born in this world. Immaculate conception, I just think I was born like this without you wasn't a weapon. I know I'm meditating, humble, then that.
Yo, welcome to another exciting episode and a very special 10th episode celebration of Power Hour. And we have a very interesting topic, if you could tell by my shirt, but I want to bring my brother on board, the one, the only.
Flame on, bro.
What's up? What's up? So, we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. Now, everybody, welcome. And I do want to say I am very excited for Deadpool 3. Very. I mean, I would say this is probably Ryan's best movie performance I have ever seen. He plays, there's no one that can play Deadpool. There's just nobody that can play it but him.
I'll give you that, man. I'll give you that. I mean,
So-
solid performance. Solid performance.
And you got to think his comedic, I guess, attitude and just his normal personality. I mean, just like how The Rock was the perfect fit for Black Adam, Ryan,
Solid casting.
solid,
Solid casting.
solid. Like he even knew he was perfect for that. I mean,
Same
but
with-
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, think about it. He had that cameo against Logan and Sabretooth when he was Weapon 11, I think it was.
yeah, but that wasn't Ryan. Wait, was that Ryan Reynolds?
That was Ryan Reynolds.
Huh.
If he's the one, remember he was what's his name? Still freaking yeah, his name was the same in that movie as it was in Deadpool.
Yo, they just called him Wade because you know good and well they called that Deadpool. Let's just say that movie.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I like in the Deadpool 2 when he went back and shot himself. Like yeah, that was funny. That was and
You're
then
welcome, Canada.
and he waved at freaking Logan like, "Hey!" And then Wolverine's just
What the fuck?
right. And yeah, so let's hop into it. Let's get into the first film, Deadpool 1. Now, I ain't gonna lie, the way he got his powers was really messed up. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know how he got cancer, but
The film never explains it, but somehow he gets cancer, then his healing factor saves him, essentially.
yes. And then I would say I like how it led up to that point. He lived a good life, and then he met Vanessa, and apparently his life changed. And then you had to go through a whole, like, I guess 5-minute scenes of them just every freaking holiday. And it's just like
Let's keep this PG, man.
look. And then on top of that, he just fell over, got sick, and then I think it was stage 3. Like it was bad. And they saying that they probably could have did chemo, but it was kind of like late for them to cure him. And so the people who gave him his powers, I forgot who that company's or who the underground company was, but they were dirty. They were dirty. They were making mutants and selling mutants.
Pretty much.
Like, I don't understand how you can inject someone with mutant genes like that, because in X-Men, it kind of explained that they were all born with it.
Yes, ma'am.
I just need you to down my phone.
I got you.
So it was just more of like, I thought you had to be born with it,
To an extent, your powers can manifest later on. It just depends.
And then he became, I guess, he looked like a rotten shroom gave birth to another rotten shroom, but that shroom came out to be more ugly. And then it was just like, ugh, they made Deadpool is just he ain't the prettiest under that mask. I'll give you that.
Even okay, the biggest Deadpool is arguably, and I want to be on camera when I say this, arguably one of the most comic accurate adaptations to film.
One of the
One
most
of the
powerfulest mutants too.
it depends on whether or not you're factoring
I mean,
Lady
you
Death
ain't
or
gonna lie.
not.
He has I guess he has Wolverine's healing abilities, but on steroids.
Yeah,
Because unlike Logan, you can literally cut him up in a wood shredder and he will still regenerate.
pretty much.
But
Like Death refuses to claim Deadpool. I don't know, because in some comics there's a love affair there. I don't know. I fell off Marvel a couple years back, so I'm the DC guy. I'm the DC guy. I fell off with Marvel for a reason. But
I've been on Marvel since Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1, boy.
hey,
That
don't get it twisted. I love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. But
now,
in terms of the comics, I fell off with Marvel.
now I everybody likes to argue that uh Captain America was the start or the first official Marvel movie. No. It was the original Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk. I'm talking about the old. Now that's the Hulk we wanted to see it be actually in the MCU.
Say what you will about Hulk 03. Hulk 03 was a CGI mess, and you really could end it after the second act. So say what you will about Hulk 03.
And
But
you ain't gonna lie, the Incredible Hulk did a perfect representation of the Abomination.
Hulk 08 was solid. Not gonna lie, but they just didn't use him because they had bad blood with Universal and the rights.
Right.
That's the main reason they didn't use him. But ultimately, the Sony and the Foxverse walked so the MCU could run.
Yeah.
I will be the first to say that.
Now, the writers of Deadpool, I want to give shout out to Paul Wernick and his collaborator Rhett Reese. Y'all did phenomenal on Deadpool 1. It was funny. Graphics was amazing. The storyline was on point, and the action and the superhero landing was because that scene where he's like, oh, he's gonna do the superhero landing. She's gonna do the superhero landing. Yay, superhero landing. That's gotta be bad for her niece. I'm like, now I ain't gonna lie. I just don't. Now there's some ifs, ands, and some pros and some cons about Deadpool 1, or I want to say about that part of the non-canon MCU at the time, because
Yeah,
that in his movie there was only two mutants, and that was
Colossus
supersonic teenage warhead and Colossus.
and Supersonic's girlfriend, but I don't think she had powers. I think.
That was Deadpool 2.
Oh, wait, she was in Deadpool too. I thought she was in the first one.
No, it was just Colossus and Supersonic in the first one.
Okay, okay.
And so it's just like besides Deadpool, there were the other man-made mutants, like Francis and his little bat crew that they were going after. There was no other mutants, but they had Xavier's mansion.
Oh,
No X-Men.
The Easter eggs was all there. Okay, one, a lot of the X-Men actors who played in the Falseverse were very high tier, so paying them even for a cameo was going to be top dollar.
I still think they still should have had some sort of what I think they should have did. I feel like in Deadpool 1, that's when they should have made Deadpool canon, because they had the mansion, and I guess First Class was already aired. Where was the First Class?
Licensing.
They made the First Class canon. They made First Class canon.
But the Fox Disney acquisition wasn't finalized till 2018. You still had another year and a half.
And then you get in.
And you can't really use the X-Men because Fox still has the rights to those characters in that continuity, because those actors are still technically under contract until 2025.
Oh yeah, I forgot they're still in the contract. But I mean, you put Colossus in there, but I know in X-Men 1 or was it Last Stand, you had like the young Colossus where he was able to change from his metal form back to his human form.
That was
But
actually that was Last Stand. That was Last
but
Stand, if I remember correctly.
but then in this one, you just had Colossus. Like you never saw that human form.
No, you didn't see it. You hardly ever saw it. He was in his metal form all the time.
So I just was like, maybe they are gonna hint at First Class in Deadpool 2. Now in Deadpool 2, they did Vanessa dirty.
Yep,
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Look,
yep,
like out of everyone, they should.
yep.
Yeah, like
They
I
they. I hate using this term. I hate using this term, but they fridged Vanessa. There was no reason to kill her off, other than the generic revenge trope.
and then
That,
Deadpool goes into a whole depression and flicked the cigarette in cans of gasoline. Like I never seen depression that bad before.
like you have a healing factor, you can piece yourself together from just about anything. Blowing yourself up is pretty much counterproductive at this point.
And then blowing up the whole entire building.
Which
Like
technically he should have gotten civil endangerment for that, but that's
now,
another conversation.
Deadpool 2, I ain't gonna lie, they hinted at more mutants that were
X,
not aired. Like you
you got
had
X Force, you
X
got
Force,
Cable.
and then on top of that, who what's it? A Juggernaut.
Yeah, Juggernaut did make a brief cameo. Yeah, but that was like a 5-minute fight.
But I ain't gonna lie, he was unstoppable. Like he ran over everybody. Like I don't know what his powers are. People said that he's a mutant. He's not a mutant.
Okay, it's a combination of the two. The Ruby gives Juggernaut his direct powers, but he does have mutant abilities even without the gem that makes him the Juggernaut. But his natural powers always fluctuate because you don't really care about the Juggernaut's natural powers. You care about Juggernaut having the Ruby and wrecking shit up. That's what you care about.
True. Now that kid that they were going after, the Flame Boy. I don't know what his name was.
Let's just call him Flameboy because I forget his name as well.
He was an emotional stress. And I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Deadpool's depression really just made that man hate the world even more than he already did. He's like, "Oh, we're a team. It's just you and me." And he's like, "No, we're not a team. Just leave me here to die. Go. I don't care about you. We're not a family." Blah blah blah. And then Buddy wanted to team up with Juggernaut, and yeah, it was just a whole bunch of city
Okay,
destruction.
quick tangent. Even though Birds of Prey did go on to rip off Deadpool 2, and they butchered Cassandra Cain. I'm not letting that go, by the way. But even I have to say, Deadpool 2 did it better.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
really did. Deadpool
yeah.
2 was written, and I want to say,
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with a girls' night out story. Nothing wrong with a girls' night out story. But Birds of Prey Harley Quinn was bland.
yes, it
Even
really
for
was.
a girls' night out story, it was completely bland.
Now, if they would have used the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad and had that gangster Joker and her breaking up and then she going on, I can actually see that. But I feel like that movie, that series just didn't really hit the point like it should have. Now, the original Birds of Prey that came out years ago, where
And
it
Freeform, I think it was Freeform Sci-Fi.
yeah, and you had Batman and Catwoman's daughter, and then you had
Yep,
Batwoman.
that was a
Them
solid show.
That
And
was
that
a
was one.
solid show. It
And
did
that
now
was
the powers and the CGI and stuff wasn't that great,
no,
and you could
no,
tell that it was like
wonky as hell.
it really was.
But
But
the story was good. It was engaging, and it was one of the few pieces of DC media that actually referenced Jason Todd because after his death in 1988, Jason was stigmatized. Since you couldn't use Jason at all because it was the dead Robin, the fallen Robin. You couldn't use Jason in any way.
mm-mm.
Hell, BTAS and the DCAU only got away with it because they made their version of Tim Drake a combination of the two. That's the only reason Bruce Timm and Co got away with it. Only
Yep.
reason.
But the one thing I did like about Deadpool 2 is wasn't Cable the dude that came back in time?
Yep, that's Cable.
Okay. Really like how they somewhat gave him his introduction into the MCU. Uh because if I'm not mistaken, Flame Boy was grown up in his time and
Yep.
came back and I guess destroyed the area, the town, or
He was a
everybody
threat. He was a threat to the future, basically.
yeah, and killed his family. So him and Deadpool, I ain't gonna lie, was actually a good team up.
They were a good dynamic. Oh, excuse me. They were a good dynamic.
So yeah, Deadpool 2 was
I'd say it's better than the first one.
I was just about to say that. Now
Now, it does have some low points. Vanessa getting fringe, Flame Boy being
they weren't
edgy
able
as
to
all
have
hell.
kids. They were planning to have babies and start a family. Now just imagine little mutant Deadpools running around like
He would look like a rotten avocado.
I ain't gonna. I feel like it'll be half and half. You know, half Vanessa, half Deadpool. Maybe. I mean, just because he looked like that, I mean, the kid might not, but the kid might have regeneration powers like him.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Because sometimes looks don't carry in genetics as far as the outside. It's more. It depends on who's more dominant. But I feel like his mutant genes probably would have been more dominant. So yeah, they probably would have came out like shriveled up prunes.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
But so we're gonna go ahead and get talking about how the X-Men started and is now being represented in the MCU, starting out with X-Men 1 through 3. Now that right there, I ain't gonna lie, X-Men 1, X-Men 2, and Last Stand, that was better and better written and more representation of the mutant universe of the the Marvel cinematic universe than First Class and all that. Because I mean, I know it was a different timeline, they were younger and stuff like that, but I feel like why give us the adult and then take us back in time? Like, why not?
It's kind of a rebrand because the X-Men hadn't really been used since Last Stand, and Fox wanted to keep the rights.
But Logan continued though. You had X-Men Origins, and then you had Wolverine, and then you had Logan. And then,
first of all, okay, I'm gonna cut you off right there. First of all, Logan is the bread and butter of the Foxverse fan. Hugh Jackman carries more than anybody, even Halle Berry and Patrick Stewart. I'm just gonna say it. Wolverine carried the franchise.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Hugh Jackman is the face of the X-Men.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Now,
him getting spinoffs and solo films, that was to be expected. A lot of that was to be expected.
Now, I like how they I somewhat represented Hugh Jackman in X-Men First Class and Days of Futures Past.
Because you got two cameos, one of which is when he actually gets the adamantium and he pretty much goes on a rampage because in the First Class or New Timeline, Jean is there to confront and talk him down. Well, she kind of like calms him down. Whereas
and he runs out the base and stuff. I think he was fully naked.
Yeah, I think they censored that in the theatrical version.
Yeah, they did.
But
and then you had Days of Futures Past, where Professor Xavier, I think, sent him back.
It was something like that.
Or I'm trying to think. I think they were already all together, and then they sent them back before whoever they were fighting got Raven's power.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Raven is, I guess, the number 2 star of the X-Men.
Mystique. Now, Mystique is pretty solid on her own. Jennifer Lawrence made a decent Mystique for what Days of Future Past and the transition for what the new timeline was going to be.
Right.
But you can't lie. The original Mystique from the X-Men 1 to 3 from the original trilogy, man, that Mystique was fine. She was fine. She was fine.
And plus, I feel like that actor played Mystique way better than Jennifer Lawrence.
Way better. Way better. But okay, X-Men Last Stand's Achilles heel because it was trying to do too much. It was trying to wrap up the trilogy, do the Cure storyline, and adapt the Phoenix Saga all in one.
Right.
It was doing way too much. If you made X-Men 3 Last Stand a 2-parter, it would have been received a whole lot better.
It really would have. Now, I feel like I really wish they probably would have continued like an X-Men 4, and then maybe Days of Futures Past. then
That
then Apocalypse and stuff like that, and maybe like side movies like Logan and stuff like that.
a
But
little more build up, a
I
little
feel
more
like
build
they
up.
should have still continued that timeline instead of cutting it off at 3, giving Wolverine his side movies and then coming back with First Class and all that. Because
Well,
I ain't gonna
Days of,
lie, that made the timeline kind of like this, and then it dropped, then it went up with Wolverine, and then it was just like this with the new one. Because we were all confused when because we were all following.
okay, think of Days of Future Past like Flashpoint. Drastic change in the timeline, all hell breaks loose. You change things, but they're different.
Right.
So Days of Future Past worked as Marvel's Flashpoint. It worked as a transition. It did for what it was. It was a little convoluted in places, but narratively it worked. But
Now,
what
out
X-Men
of
I'm just gonna say right this and then we'll continue the next section. The fact that X-Men First Class to Apocalypse and even New Mutants especially failed is because they wanted to rebrand the X-Men movies without Hugh Jackman, without Wolverine. That was their biggest
because I
mistake
ain't gonna lie, I think Days of Futures Past was supposed to be Hugh Jackman's last movie playing.
at the time.
Yes,
At the time.
and I think we wasn't gonna get another Wolverine besides Logan at that point.
Pretty much.
Now,
Okay.
out of all the new X-Men movies, Apocalypse is my favorite
I'll give you that. I mean, it's still a bit of a mess, but
because that is a representation of how powerful Jean is.
yes.
Jean will top anybody if she overcomes her fear and puts her mind to it.
Or if the Phoenix takes over.
Yeah, when she hit that solar flare head on, that made her powers go tenfold. And I think she was the only one able to suppress or absorb that solar flare.
Pretty much.
But I really wish that I
Ian
give.
McKellen was a better Magneto though. You can't tell me otherwise.
Oh, young Magneto, he was a beast. I
Ian,
like.
Ian McKellen was way better though.
I know, yeah. We all prefer, the old gray haired, but the young one,
Pretty decent. He was
he
decent.
would. I like his attitude.
He
I
was
love his
decent.
attitude. I love his attitude. Like he would literally be like, I think when Jean flew to the base that they were hiding, and she accidentally said she killed somebody, and then he was like, "Who did you kill?" And then she said something about killing Raven. When I say that whole base lifted off the ground, Buddy wasn't having that. And then he said, "You need to go." Like there's no telling how powerful Magneto is. Like this man can lift up a skyscraper with his mind if he wants.
No, he can control all of magnetism. Just imagine what Magneto could really unleash if he was really pissed off.
This man can probably lift the Earth. Like he'll probably split the Earth in half if he could.
With difficulty, but he could pull it off.
Yeah. Like I feel what if Magneto actually got Rogue's power? Because I remember X-Men 1, they kidnapped, or was it 1 or 2? I think it was 1.
I want to say it was 2, but it could have been 1.
They kidnapped Rogue, and that's how her hair had that strip in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to use her powers to, I guess, attack the planet, or was it the city? Because they were in the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, there was 1. You're thinking of 1. You're thinking of X-Men 1.
Now, I just imagine if he was able to, I guess, control Rogue's power.
Because
just imagine how powerful Magneto could be.
Because Rogue can. Okay, Rogue is like a mutant vampire. She can pretty much siphon off anyone's abilities or energy through physical contact.
Right.
So, yeah, you're talking about some really destructive capability.
And then you got Mystique on your side, and then you got those other, evil mutants. Like, what was his man? I want to call him Fireboy, the one that went against Iceman.
Pyro.
He was a straight, I ain't gonna say it, dick.
He was.
Like, he did Bobby dirty at first, but then Bobby literally went full ice and headbutted him, saying, "Sit down."
which scientifically doesn't make sense, but it's a good
because
scene.
he should have melted Bobby.
Yeah.
And then when Magneto gave him that little break, that little thing with the little flame on, oh
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
no, that was another level 5 mutant that had a lot of capability.
Now,
Just
Angel in X-Men 2 was badass.
he really was. I didn't like how they tried to make the scenes where he tried to cut off his wing. That was kind of disturbing.
It's when he first gets his powers. It's the quagmire of it all. It's a little daunting, but it works for what the scene was trying to convey. It's like it's the opening prologue of the movie.
Yep. And then there was that mutant that they were trapping in that building in, I think, Last Stand that was able to, I guess, with touch cure anybody, or he was the cure.
Yeah, because again, Last Stand went wrong because it was doing too much.
It really was. Killing off Jean, Wolverine, stabbing. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I know out of everybody, Wolverine was probably the only one that could have walked up to Jean at that point. But even he was struggling.
Yeah, because I never understood this. The whole Jean, Wolverine, Scott love triangle. I never understood it. It's something that came out like right out of the X-Men animated series.
She loved Scott. Scott loved her, but she had secret love for Logan, but Logan loved her. And I'm just like, can y'all make up your mind? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, who's gonna love who? But
And
then
it's also weirder when Logan's like 150 years old. Like,
it is. And then on top of that, I like how it all came down to it, that it showed in First Class in the new X-Men movies that it was always going to be Scott and Jean.
yeah.
But then anytime Logan comes along, chitty chitty bang bang, cheat gets on.
God damn it.
I mean, think of it. The only one that showed love to Logan was Mystique, because she said that she has never got a scar from anybody but him.
They had at least in X-Men 1 to 3. Those two had chemistry. I will give you that. But it's weird when she's technically Nightcrawler's mom.
Is she? Really?
Yeah. If you go to the comics and even X-Men the animated series, Mystique is Nightcrawler's mom.
But they didn't make that clear in X-Men 3.
Not in the movie version. They didn't make that explicitly clear. But come on, the blue skin, the shape, the teleporting.
I always thought that, but I was like, they look different because she looks more scaly than he does.
Nightcrawler takes after his father, hence the teleportation powers. Nightcrawler, but he gets his blue skin from his mom.
Yeah, because I figured that I thought that I knew who his dad was. I just never knew who his mom was. Wow.
Yeah, it was Mystique, and I believe it was in the first season of X-Men the animated series. It was season 1, the Christmas episode. But yeah, Mystique was shape-shifting to blend in with humans. She gave birth to Nightcrawler, and she technically abandoned him in order to blend in at the time.
So the X-Men in my just has a lot. I would say a lot of potential. I feel like they should have went at it a different direction. Now I give the writers credit. They did an excellent job. The movies came out better.
They did.
But I just hated that, the writers of X-Men 1, 2, and 3 turned over the writers to, First Class. But there was only one person who stayed throughout every X-Men movie, and that was Bryan Singer.
Oh, you knew Bryan Singer was going to stay.
Yeah, his writing and co-writing wasn't going nowhere. Marvel was not letting him go. No. But when it came to Tom DeSanto, Rhett Reeves, Paul Wernick, they stopped writing out of X-Men 3.
Yeah, because they had a massive falling out with Marvel directly, and Marvel, both the company and editorial. There was a huge falling out. Like, this was like 06, 07. But so yeah, that's all a lot of that was, because they wanted to kick off the MCU, but they didn't have access to X-Men because, again, Fox had the rights.
And Fox wasn't giving it up.
No. But I feel like Warnick and the other writers were going to leave regardless.
Kind of like how Sony has the rights of Spider-Man, but it's still
They'll work with them. They'll take a cut. They'll
Yep.
agree to the licensing fee, but they're not going to give up the rights to Spider-Man outright. That's just not going to happen.
like Marvel and Sony are, I guess partners when it comes to Tom Holland, Toby, and Andrew. But then you ain't gonna lie, there's only one person who has the real rights to Toby, and that is Sam Raimi.
That is true. That is
And
true.
I would say Sam Raimi is more, I guess, uh,
Sam Raimi,
no, he's more
horror.
no, I would say you can actually bargain with him and actually come to a more easier agreement than Sony. Because ain't gonna lie, Sony's way uptight when it comes to Tom Holland and Andrew.
Case, and I'm probably getting my facts mixed up, but there was an alleged scan. Okay, I'm probably gonna get the details wrong, but to make it a long story short, Andrew Garfield had a bit of a falling out with Sony, and that's why he got snubbed for Tom Holland in the when Spider-Man was licensed for the MCU.
Yeah, because Andrew was supposed to be the Spider-Man of the MCU.
But he had a falling out with Sony. I think it was a publicity stunt gone bad, and they said, "Screw him. We'll go with the Game of Thrones kid."
And then Tom Holland became the face of Spider-Man,
which wasn't bad. I just wouldn't have made him my first. He's just not my first choice.
My first choice would have been Toby. I would have kept Toby. Just imagine Tobey Maguire meets Tony Stark. Now, just imagine Toby swinging in on Civil War. That would have been lit. But I can't
argue. I can't argue with you, man.
And I ain't gonna lie, Toby probably would have put the pause on a lot of them that Tom Holland probably wouldn't.
Oh no, because again, the way Tom Holland portrays Peter Parker, he's still a little kid. He doesn't have that full grasp of responsibility because he didn't have Uncle Ben in his life. So for all intents and purposes, Tom Holland Spider-Man, at least until No Way Home, was still a little kid. Tobey Maguire was a grown man.
He would have went in there and meant business.
Every bit.
And then you probably would have seen that. Like, if he would have started doing that little, like, I would have said, yo. No,
we don't talk.
That right there, that was the face of Spider-Man. The black suit with
we don't talk about emo Maguire, man.
Hey, Symbiote Maguire was that was the gangster back in the day.
He was a menace, but come on, you got to understand
he took Brock's girl and then literally like he did MJ dirty. MJ literally sat there just like.
To be fair, Sam Raimi's MJ was toxic as hell. We can both agree on that.
I know, but I ain't gonna lie. Ebo Maguire was toxic, bro. Like, he literally was like, on the phone with his professor talking about it carries the characteristics of a symbiote, and he's like, who needs to bond to a host to survive. This stuff is dangerous. You didn't keep any, did you? And he's like, no, not at all. And then he's over there just, no, not at all. And then just rolled his eyes. I said, bro, you are a menace, dude. And then he did Sandman dirty.
Okay.
Rubbing his face against a train, bro.
As much as we all are nostalgic and love, Sam Raimi made a compromise with the studio. Sam Raimi was classic Spider-Man fan, like Silver Age, Sandman, Vulture, stuff like that. He did not want to use Venom at all. The studio.
I feel like Shocker would have been better.
No.
Because think about it.
Shocker's a D tier, man. Come on.
Nah, I mean, yeah, but I'd rather that than Venom. Or at least give us like a comic version of Vulture.
I'll give you that. Because without without Venom, all you would have had was Sandman and New Goblin, which is a mix of Harry had the
movie probably.
Just right quick. Harry had a pretty good scheme.
He did.
Tear Peter and MJ apart, blackmail MJ into leaving Peter to make Peter suffer, and then culminated a final battle between the two. But again,
he still wouldn't have beat Emo McGuire.
Oh no, he would have lost that fight.
He did. Buddy literally threw a bomb and he's behind his back. He said side, swing, and then threw it. I was like, you are a dirty little, like, and he literally.
The only reason he survived that is because the butler dragged him out of there. That's the only reason he survived that.
Like, he didn't even look, but that spider sense kicked in. Buddy hit the whole side, web slinged the thing in midair, and then slung it. And I was scarred, Buddy, for life.
Well, not too much of life left because he gets, it's a 15-year-old movie. He gets impaled.
Oh, that's just wrong. He got killed off. That's wrong. But Venom did stabbed him dirt.
Well, technically, he was aiming for Peter. Harry kind of just leaped in the way and took the brunt of it.
And then you got that meme that's going around of Toby going, no! Where he screamed, where he's like, hey.
That clip is still meme to this day.
Oh, you cannot get on TikTok and someone did not make a video about that. But let's move on to our topic, Logan. Now, this is why I want to talk. This is why I want to talk about Logan. Okay, so it's been confirmed that if you've seen the logo of this
Deadpool 3
podcast, yes, that has 3 slashes in it. So, but here's the thing: Logan died, and his daughter took over as Wolverine. Now, here's the thing: if Hugh Jackman is planning on returning, now here's my theory:
it can't be
Deadpool 3 is getting introduced, or Deadpool is getting introduced into the MCU, and this is going to be part of the multiverse saga.
Deadpool has been largely self-contained prior to this. I get where you're coming from because you can't use Fox versus Logan because he was killed off in Logan.
So if Fox agreed to let Hugh Jackman, I guess be Wolverine actually being in the MCU, like what better way to do it than the multiverse saga?
Unless it's the bait and switch and they're trying to highlight X-23 as Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's just a glorified cameo.
And then I think in one interview, I think Hugh Jackman said something about we're getting Prime Logan, like X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3 Logan. Like we're not getting old grown Logan, we're getting Prime Logan. So I'm like, this has to be the MCU.
I'm expecting some meta shenanigans. That's the only way I could see this making sense.
The multiverse saga theory, I guess, is the only thing that can make sense because, I know they're part of the same universe, but if Logan did die off, and I think that it was actually hinted in Deadpool 2 that Logan died. So I'm pretty sure Deadpool knows that Logan's dead.
Yeah, but he does use a time travel device both in the ending and in the post-credit scenes. So he could easily just use that again and save Logan or go back to earlier in the Fox verse and like, sorry, buddy, I'm going to take you on a little adventure.
Or I would say that, something goes wrong, or this is probably a spinoff of, I would say this is probably, I guess, some sort of side effect of kind of like No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness. Like, I guess, what if Prime Logan kind of slipped through a hole?
I could see that. And then Deadpool has to take him back, but Deadpool doesn't want to take him back right away. Like, no, come on. You're just gonna get old, and then the Sentinels, and then
or it's gonna be one of those movies where, let's say Logan is somewhat, I guess, slipped through I guess this Logan a portal, yes,
a past Logan slipped through a portal.
Or I'll explain the theory better. We're gonna get a scene from Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Something happens and Logan is brought back, but then they have to take him back to his original timeline but by doing so, Deadpool stops him from dying.
I could see that, or at least Deadpool, because this either way, this is going to be Hugh Jackman's last role. Either way,
Actually, I think it's been. I don't know if he's going to make an appearance in Secret War, but I mean, it makes sense if he does.
depends on whether or not they renew his contract.
But I mean, there's just a whole bunch of ways that you can actually like point into how is Hugh Jackman and young Wolverine is making an appearance in Deadpool 3. Like how is this gonna, play out? Because I don't know how Logan can come back if he's been killed off.
Remember, Deadpool did get that time travel device in the end of Deadpool 2. So what if Deadpool still has it?
Yeah, and then he probably breaks a hole in the multiverse,
Maybe.
and or he goes back in time and meets the X-Men. There's a whole bunch of possibilities. But here's a question. How do you think the X-Men and mutants are being represented in the MCU so far as, Days of Futures Past, First Class, Apocalypse, and now Deadpool 3? And then you got the movie The Mutants too.
Now, The Mutants was just was essentially a horror film using X-Men characters. So I don't think The Mutants is going to be remembered all that well anyway. But
Like, I can actually see that movie actually like somewhat becoming canon. Maybe. It has
maybe.
potential.
Don't get me wrong, it has potential. But if those characters get used again, it'll just feel like a do-over.
But I feel like I guess it's a start of mutants being represented. Now I feel like now after Deadpool 3, they're gonna somewhat, I guess, make more of the older X-Men or somewhat of the newer X-Men, I guess, canon in a way. Kind of like how they kept bringing back Patrick Stewart as Xavier, like in Multiverse of Madness.
I feel you.
And it's just, I just don't know how they're gonna play this out, honestly. Like, because all we got is that trailer and that little teaser from Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
I got you.
So it's just, I just don't know how they're going to end up writing this. I don't know what of the Deadpool, writers are going to. I don't know if Paul Wernick and, Rhett Reese is writing this, or are we going to get, Sheldon Turner, Bryan Singer, and then I think, Cyan Kimberg, and then you got Michael Dirtley, James Mangold, and Scott Frank. Now Scott Frank does some good movies. I ain't gonna cap.
You're right.
But we're gonna get it now. What do we know so far? Like, what do you like so far? I want to compare what you know and what I know about Deadpool 3 so far as when it came to leaks, teasers, and hints from, I guess, writers, cast, Marvel, Ryan.
From what I've seen, X-Men, Deadpool 3 is definitely going to be interesting.
It is. I have, we know very little about this. We got more from the trailers of Multiverse of Madness. Now, I feel like when it gets closer to the movie, we're gonna get a official trailer. We'll know more. But I feel like that trailer is gonna be kind of like the trailer of No Way Home, because remember in No Way Home, it just showed Tom. We didn't know that Andrew and Toby was gonna be in there, but everybody was, I guess, hinting at it because we're like, how is Tom gonna fight all five of them by himself?
Yeah, they really made an effort to keep it quiet because they didn't want to risk spoiling the movie.
And but then in the last bit of the trailer, you see Tom flying towards the Sinister Six, and we're just like, okay, is he really about to take on 5 of them?
I mean, don't get me. I'm surprised. I'm just glad they were able to pull it off. All things considered, if Tom Holland leaves the MCU, I wouldn't blame him. But it was a good send off. All things considered, it concluded his arc.
Mm-hmm. It really did. And then it gave that last movie gave us a hint of kind of what his 3 next movies are gonna be like. I guess people slowly remembering him and stuff like I said, we got more and we were able to figure out more. But even then, from like little teaser trailers that Marvel somewhat does, I guess depending on the movie, drops hints and Easter eggs. And I guess Ryan Reynolds took, the liberty of dropping the Easter egg with Hugh Jackman. So we're just like, okay. So all we basically know is that Wolverine is coming back. What version? We don't know, but we're hinting at young Logan. But if we get older Logan, it's just not gonna make sense. I just don't have no idea.
Me
But
neither, man.
I just really, really, really hope that it's very much better than Deadpool 2. Give us a villain worth it.
I agree.
But we're gonna go ahead and get into the multiverse saga. Now, how do you feel about Marvel's I guess phase right now, or what they like to call the multiverse phase?
I could. I kind of feel mid by it because Phase Four pretty much crashed and burned.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they weren't really gonna. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. They should have just recasted Tony Stark and Captain America. I appreciate the send off, especially when you had to use the gauntlet. But I feel like in this case, rather than using all new, all different Marvel material, which failed sales wise, mind you,
Right.
just recast.
And then on top of that, killing off Tony, I mean, it makes sense, but
I'd argue Captain Marvel because at least she's freshly introduced. She was supposed to be this big badass, and even
Mhm.
and she was like dragged in last minute. Might as well because you would still have Tony. You may lose Chris Evans, Captain America, because Chris Evans was going to leave when his contract ended.
Yeah, he was.
Chris Evans was going to leave regardless. Robbie Downey Jr. just became too high profile, and the studio didn't want to pay him.
Right.
If a deal was made, they wouldn't have. If they could come to a compromise, Tony Stark wouldn't have been killed off. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean, and then they left out the post credit scene where Tony met his daughter after he snapped his finger.
Yeah, the Soul Stone scene. Yeah, that they did leave that out, which I kind of hate. Not gonna lie.
Because I'm like, doesn't that mean that he's trapped in the Soul Stone?
No, I think that was just a visual piece to where at least in the afterlife, Tony interacts with his daughter in some capacity.
No, I remember in the comics when Tony, snapped his finger, he his I guess his soul became an AI, and he was able to help his daughter become Ironheart.
I feel you.
So why haven't we got Ironheart yet?
Something tells me, especially given the inspiration of Ironheart. Wait, do you know
Do I know?
how Brian Michael Bendis got the idea of Ironheart?
No. I just know how Ironheart was created.
Oh, okay. Okay. Basically, he got the idea from an adult parody.
What?
I'll put it in the private chat.
Oh. 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 Okay then.
Oh.
Ooh. That
Oh.
kind of wow. My mind went blank there for a minute.
You thought about it, didn't you?
Well,
Uh, I'm not on the
now
off. We're not going to repeat it because on the off chance kids are watching this. But if you know, you know.
yeah. But to wrap up this last topic before our special presentation for my 10th episode celebration, do you get the same feeling that Doctor Strange is somewhat the face of the multiverse saga?
I can see how you would think that to an extent, but he's not what the studio wants him to be.
Like I mean, we all know that he's one of the most powerfulest people, but at the same sense, you had No Way Home, he made an appearance. Then you had Multiverse of Madness.
I
And
feel you.
so now we're getting, Deadpool, and I guess Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumanium, he didn't really make an appearance, but that wasn't really multiverse, but kind of, because Kang the Conqueror. Now, Kang was the only somewhat multiverse person in that whole movie, but I feel like they should have went a different. They should have did better on Ant-Man and Wasp. That's just my opinion.
I feel you. I feel you.
But I mean, how things are just going and how this Marvel phase is going, I just really, really think that Doctor Strange is going to make an appearance in Deadpool 3, or we're going to get a scene or a couple scenes with Doctor Strange, just because when it comes to the multiverse and the past movies that we have, who's in it? Doctor Strange. And it seems when it comes to the universe or multiverse, and now that he, has the powers of the Book of Ashanti, like that at the end of Multiverse of Madness, he's able to travel through multiverses now.
Yep.
So, it just, we don't really got much about Deadpool 3 besides really Hugh Jackman, but how everything is leading up in the MCU is, I really get a strong feeling that, Doctor Strange has something to do with Deadpool 3. That's just my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
Let me let me see that, and let's go here. And yes, I have. This is not copyright because this is mine. This is off my channel. This is mine. Already posted. Already mine. But yes, so I'm gonna wrap this up, everybody, with a musical presentation from You're Only. And I wanted to promote this because this is really blowing up right now. Like, I already got 300 views on this on TikTok. I got, I guess, 10 views on Twitter. I just posted it the other night and I already got like over 10 plays, or I think my views went up by 20%.
Nice.
But this is a music presentation. I'm your boy DJ Chico 10K, and this is my Big House Freestyle.
Nice.
Yes, sir. That right there was definitely probably my best track I've ever
Oh,
mixed.
and breaking news: Gotham Knights on CW is officially canceled after one season.
Really?
Yes, the creators of Batwoman's last vanity project, working for Warner Brothers, did not actually turn out to be a piece of garbage. Shocker.
That's crazy. DC just likes to cancel everything.
Well, to be fair, all they've done is spew out a bunch of crap as of late, so I can't blame them.
Yeah. I'm glad Marvel ain't like that because I would Marvel real quick.
2 words. She-Hulk. Need I say more?
Not even worth my time.
Well, with that being said, thank you for joining us for this wonderful celebration of 10-point episodes of Power Hour. Dynamic Duo will be back talking about manga versus American comics. I already have the thumbnail made. I will keep y'all posted on Twitter and my community tab on YouTube. And flame off.
All right, this is the link to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe to my boy JHEAT, and please like and subscribe, and peace out.